Okay, why would you need an ODS, or what is an ODS? ODS stands for an operational data store, and the simplest answer for that is it would have data that you would need to come up with the analysis or the decision support data for whatever business decision that has to be made. So in other words, you've got two choices. You can just say, hey, I feel that this is the right direction to go, the right decision to make, the right action to have, or based on the data that resides within our operational systems, here is a clear indication of what we should do in any given decision. So data-backed decision making is always going to be better than emotional or hunch-based decision making. Now, a lot of organizations have an issue with, well, I don't know how to access this data. I mean, I know some of it must be in my ERP system, some of it would be in my CRM or some other third-party application, but I need some from here and some from there. I don't know how to pull it all together. So the hurdles to having good data-backed decision making is presented in a lot of organizations, and so as a result of that, the need for data warehousing, an enterprise data warehouse, and even before that step, an operational data store to get a handle around all of the data that is within your organization. So the reason you would want to create an operational data store is to have a single location where you can accumulate in near real time data that exists in your operational systems. So for example, your ERP system, your CRM system, or any internal system may have 100, 1,000 different tables. And so you can just picture that as thousands of tables within each of these systems. The issue is I cannot query data that resides at the same time both on my CRM system and on my ERP system. Very difficult to do, both from a connectivity perspective as well as from a data schema perspective. For example, an account number, a customer number. Both your ERP system and your CRM system may in fact have an account number, but they're different. And even the accounts could be at different grains. You could have General Motors, but then another system might have General Motors, a certain department, really not the same thing. So there are lots of issues, and that problem is generally solved conforming your data. And conforming your data is one of the steps on your way to a data warehouse. But the first step is simply to extract this data from many systems and put it into your ODS. So the ODS now becomes a one-stop shop for all of the data that you have residing in each of these systems. Now it sounds pretty straightforward, and it is generally an exercise in replication. In other words, a single table on my ERP system would be a single table within the ODS. But if you peel back the layers on that, there's a little more to that replication engine. For example, how current is it? Now you could say, well, I'm going to pull all tables from my ERP system into ODS, but what if that takes several days to do that? Well, now you don't really have real-time information. You have snapshot of a certain point in time that is residing in your ODS. So one of the things you want to implement with your ODS is to make it as real-time as possible, and the best way to do that is via a replication exercise. Now with replication, all changes made to your ERP system are recorded in near real time. There could be a 15, 20, 30-minute delay over to the ODS. You could then do the same thing with your CRM system or any internal system, and you still have issues in terms of joining these tables together, but the ODS is really the first step in order to conforming your data, and getting it to a common platform. So if you ever had the need for data to make a business decision and found that you couldn't get your hands on that data, at least in a timely fashion, the first step to putting together an enterprise data warehouse would be your ODS, or your operational data store, to house and accumulate all of your relational data into a common platform. And I should say this is a little bit different from a data lake. A data lake is a similar exercise, but generally unstructured data, or often includes a lot of unstructured data, whether it's XML or JSON, CSV, etc. Where an ODS really is using relational data that has come from these other operational systems.